Hi, and welcome to Brush Tips with Cheri. Today we are going to be painting a moon and some cherry blossom trees. If you could see right here, we have lots of great colors going on. We have a great spring look. So today we are going to be using these wonderful colors. We have white, which is really hard to see on this, but you'll see it once I start mixing it up. We have red. We have a little tiny bit of yellow. We have black, purple, and phthalo blue. We also have 3 brushes today. We have this Big Daddy, who we use all the time, so he's always with us. We have this squared one right here, and this will just give you a different angle on the flowers. We also have this little round one right here, and this one helps with the trees. Are we ready to paint? Dip those brushes in your cup of water. Remember, we don't need to be fancy, because painting does not have to be fancy or crazy expensive. Remember that too. Painting is about having fun and being creative. So we're going to go ahead and grab some of this white paint here, and then I'm going to show you a little magic trick on how to make the perfect circle every time. So we're going to start with the circular motion. Don't touch your canvas yet. And once you feel like you have a good circular motion, go ahead and hit your canvas. I'm going to outline this in blue for you real quick just so you could see it, how big I went with this moon. This is how big I went with this moon, okay? So I want you to be that big with the moon. I'm not sure if you can get a good view of it, but you want it to be a good size, okay? Then we're going to work our way out, and we're just going to grab some of this violet and some of this phthalo blue. We're just going to start adding it to the outside of the moon. Now this is a really, really fun painting because you get to pick what kind of sky you want. If you want a darker sky, you can add more dark blue or in black, and if you want a lighter sky, you can add more white in. And just work your way around it. Now don't be scared if you lose your circle moon, because we can always bring that back later. And don't forget about your sides. If you forget about your sides, you can always come back and fix it later, but you don't want to hang it on the wall without your sides being done. It will drive you crazy. It doesn't really drive me crazy, but it might drive some people crazy. Just because then it doesn't look completed. All right, so I like purple, so I'm gonna add a nice layer of purple in here and just keep building. Obviously, you're gonna want some really good dry time in between this when you're adding the tree on. So don't be afraid to walk away from your painting and come back later. I just keep building here. I'm even going to add a little black in there too, because I really like it when it's darker. Just add some straight blue in there. And you can see I just keep going into a swooshing motion. My brush is always moving. Top to bottom, side to side, my brush is always moving. And I want it to look like it's going into a circle. That moon's a little crazy up there. I'll straighten that guy out. It's a little harder to paint at an angle. But it's perfect. Okay, let's see. Let's get the rest of this guy done here. Look at my whole side isn't even done. Never even did it. Here's me telling everyone, paint the side, paint the side. What do? Don't paint the side. All right. So I love when I get the messages on Facebook about the painting. So feel free to message us. I love answering your questions. I appreciate all of your questions. And I love giving you the advice and just seeing your creations. Painting made fun, right? In the comfort of your own home. All right, so I'm going to flip this to the side so that way I can hit the bottom. Because we want to be able to hang it up and it cover the whole canvas, okay? All right, here we go. Perfect. So I'm going to let this guy dry a second. I'm going to clean off my brush really well. Actually, you know what? I'm going to add a little bit of black in here. That's what I'm going to do. You can see on the already finished one that there is some black through here, through the sky. And all you do is just take a little tiny bit on the brush. You can always add more. Remember, you just can't take it away. It's almost like baking. Speaking of baking, I like some sweets. They make me happy. So painting and sweets. If we could just do that for the rest of our lives, we would all be happy. All right. So here we go. If you feel like you have too much black, just add some straight blue or even some straight purple right over that to kind of turn that black down a little bit. Now, if you're following along, feel free to pause and just take a quick look at your painting. Figure out what you love about it, what you want to add more to, and step back. It's always good to just step back and see where you need to work on, okay? So don't ever feel like you can't just step away from your painting. I'm going to add the ground here before I go in and I play with my moon. So it's just a little bit of black here, almost a little wavy, because we don't want the ground to be super straight across. We want it to look like there's some texture in there. And I'm just going to throw some of this black through here too. Just real lightly, okay? You can also just add a couple little grassy areas if you wanted to. You don't have to, of course. And then I'm going to rinse off my brush real good. We want all the black off before we have to put the white back into the moon. We don't want a gray moon. If it became gray, it's okay though. You can also add a tiny little bit of yellow if you wanted to. I like it without the yellow in it, but if you wanted to add yellow, you definitely could. So I'm just going to bring back this moon, this nice circle, and just color inside here. You want to fill up this whole moon. Mine has a little glow to it because I have a little blue in my brush. And that's okay too. Here we go. Perfect. Now you know you can always get the compass tools that make that perfect circle. If you really wanted to, you could put it here and draw the circle on. So I'm going to play around with this outside a little bit and just add a little glow around. So it's just like dusting off my brush. Whatever's left on my brush, I'm just dusting it off right onto the outside to create a glow. Okay. Do you see the glow around the moon? I'm going to wet my brush just a tiny little bit and just bring out some more of this, okay? I'm going to add some purple up here in the corner because I want to cover this with, bring some more purple in. Perfect. It's like a nice summer full moon, spring full moon really, because it's spring. There's another real pretty winter painting that I do, but we're not even going to talk about winter right now, right? We're just getting into spring here in Northeast Ohio. Perfect. Oh, I still feel like I lost a little bit of that moon there. Let me step back. I'm actually going to have to come into it like this. There we go. Sorry, I don't mean to stand in front, but we want a good circle. I need to. Perfect. How's that? Better? You can see the little blue in there. All right, next step. Clean that brush really good. You hear it sloshing around in that water? All right, so I'm going to take the little round brush. This is one of my favorites to do trees. So I actually roll it through my black in order to get a really sharp point. If you do that with any round brush, you're going to get a really nice sharp point. I'm going to start up here and I'm not going to push. I'm just going to very lightly run my brush down. I won't actually start pushing on the canvas until I get to about here. Then I get to thicken up my tree. I know in kindergarten they taught us how to make a tree a different way. I'll show you on the back of my canvas. I know in kindergarten they taught us how to make a tree like this, but we don't want to do that, all right? It's very tempting to go back to that, and sometimes I get a little stressed out thinking, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the trunk on first and then work from there, but that's not what we want to do. We want it to flow nice and easy. So we want to start all the way up here and bring everything down into the trunk. And do you see how it just kind of flows all together that way? And that's how you build your trunk, okay? So keep that in mind when you're painting tree trunks. Even branches, when you're doing just the branches on the side, just start like this and bring it all into one. Then you can bring another one up here. I'll add a little white to this just so that you can see where my branches are. I like to add the white highlights at the end, but I want you to see how I'm doing this. So we're adding a couple of extra white in there now. This is one of my favorite paintings. This was actually two paintings that a friend of mine came into the studio to paint with me, and she was like, hey, I really love this one, but I really love this one too. So we combined two paintings and we came up with this one. She's super awesome. She's a great artist. She's just learning, but she definitely has done amazing. I'm going to add a little smaller tree over here. I don't want to go too crazy with this tree because I don't want to cover up my moon too much. So I'm just going to go real light up the side. Then kind of bring one in here. Make it look like it's going to give the moon a big hug. Bring a little one in here. Like it's reaching for the other one. And thicken up your trunk. There, how's this looking? wet your brush a little bit. It's probably a little dry. Roll it through that black paint again. And just run some black through here. This guy's getting a little thick. I need to stay off of that guy. There we go. Perfect. Now I'm going to add a little white to this one just so you could see what's going on here. And the white highlights just kind of make it look a little bit more textured. Okay. Add a little branch here. Let's add a pretty big branch here. I kind of want these two to connect. I want this tree to look like they're kind of reaching for each other. Like, hey, give me a tree hug. Okay, give me a tree hug. Yes, my trees do talk to each other. They are extremely talkative trees. Perfect. I love it. Make these guys happy, right? Bring them in, give them some company. Add a little flowers, or more branches here, not flowers. I'm going to take some of this white, and I'm also going to put it in the bottom too, just to give my ground a little fun texture. You don't have to do this, it just looks like there's some texture going on. Grab some of this black, add some more black to this tree trunk here. Good, perfect, perfect. Digging it. So making tree trunks and branches is almost like cursive writing. We're not going to lift our brush. We're just going to start at the top of the tree trunk and work our way down. And just let it all flow together. All right, let's work on some of these petals for our tree and wrap this guy up. So, red and white make pink. So I want you to grab a big scoop of this white over here, add it to this red. You see I'm not going to over mix. I have a lot of black on my brush still. I'm just going to touch my paper towel just to absorb some of that black gray from my brush. Scoop up some more white. Just kind of make a nice happy mess here. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we are actually going to stamp. So we're going to dot, 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 dot. 4 dots or 5. You could do 5 too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just keep adding them on. 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? There's no right or wrong way how to make these flowers. If you want to make them really big, you can make a couple of them really big. You can make them small. Whatever you choose. Let's add one here. I actually add them so they kind of look like they're falling off the tree. I know that this is definitely time for magnolia trees, dropping all those fun flower petals. And I know that they look fun in the yard, but I've heard a lot of people complain about the magnolia trees and what they do to their property. Grass doesn't grow under them. I don't even know. I just am now thankful that I don't have one. So they're beautiful to look at though. There's only one, that guy has 4. 2, 3, 4. Let's do 5 on this guy. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You don't have to count. I'm going to throw just a couple of red ones on there too. 2, 3, 4, 5. let's throw a nice red one right here. I think it just adds to the different colors and brightness. Makes it a little bit more springy with the different colors there. I'm going to bring some more white in. Now you can see I have tons of paint on my brush. My brush has a lot of paint. It's very wet. So don't worry if you have a ton of paint. You definitely want to have a lot. The more paint you have, the easier it is to stamp these out. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, back up, take a step back, look at where you want to put these. I like to cover up my branches with them, especially if I made a boo-boo on a branch. Like right here, I made this branch a little bit too thick, so I'm just going to cover this. Hide my little mistake, right? It's like a little secret under there. Nobody knows about it, except for all of you watching. So keep stamping it out. Let's bring some of this red over here into this white. So in this painting, you can also see that I have a lot of petals falling. So all it is just a quick little swoosh of the brush, okay? Super fast, nothing fancy. I'm going to get a little bit of clean white because I like to make some of the petals white. Let me just get some of this clean white here. And we are going to wrap this guy up. Add some of these, nice. Just a quick little, almost like a sloppy check mark. And feel free to step away. It's okay to step away. Whoop, don't trip over your easel. And to see where you would like to add some more. Let's add a little flower here, okay? So on the bottom, I just want to add a couple little branches that fell, and I'm almost just dabbing my painting really quickly, like I want to skip a rock. You know how like when you skip a rock, you can envision it skipping across? That's almost what we want to do here. So let's add these. I'm going to take some yellow, and I'm just going to highlight just a little tiny bit, a couple flowers. Then we're going to put our little dots in the middle. Do you see that? How that makes that painting come alive? Just adding that tiny, tiny little bit of yellow helps make a painting pop. I think it just brings out just such textures and colors. Clean that brush off really good. So then in the middle of these flowers, you can actually just take a dab of white, little dot, dot, and I use the other end of this guy. So there's one that's pretty white, so I'm just going to grab a dot of red and stick it in the middle. Some of them I like red, some of them I like with the white dot. It all just depends. You can also add black dots or even a little blue or purple, whatever you desire. I'm going to add some red to these guys over here. Red, red, red. And this is just such a unique painting because really it's all about however you want your painting to be. Okay. Let's clean that off real good. Roll it on a paper towel. And let's just make some real light pink flower petals real quick that are falling, and then we'll be just about done. Just fill this in here. Now don't overdo it. Remember, you can always add more, you just can't take it away. How fun is this? You can go right over those boo-boo branches if you need to, the ones that I messed up on. Now, I didn't really mess up. They just got a little thick, and I wasn't overly excited with how thick they were. And dab. Just play around. And I use the side of my brush, okay? And I think I'm about done. So, we clean off our brush really, really good. And then, like every amazing artist out there that you all are, we just take this little tiny brush, roll it in that white, and we add our little tiny initial right down here. There you go. And now your painting's complete. Thanks for watching.